Sure, the driver's silly season hasn't been that explosive or crazy, but sure, why not? Crew chief silly season. Let's do it. Just a couple days ago, or yesterday, or sometime this week, we got the news that Randall Burnett would leave RCR to join Trackhouse crew chief for Connor Zilisch in the Cup Series. Well, now Rodney Childers for the second straight year. One of the biggest crew chief commodities out there. He will be rejoining a team in NASCAR, but he's not going to be in the Cup Series. He's actually going to be the Xfinity Series. Well, the soon-to-be O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for the first time in his career, actually. Childers, of course, is well known for his time at Stewart-Haas Racing, the pairing with Kevin Harvick. They won a championship together, won a bunch of races together. Childers has also won races as a crew chief with David Rudiman and Brian Vickers. Also crew chief for Josh Berry in 2023 when he was in the 2024. And then he crew chief for Justin Haley at Spire Motorsports this year for 9 whole races. Well, Childers has been enjoying his time off and bouncing around, just going to races and stuff. As I said, enjoying his time off, but he is going to be joining Junior Motorsports. Here is the press release. Junior Motorsports today announced that former NASCAR Cup Series champion crew chief Rodney Childers will be joining the organization in 2026 as a crew chief of the #1 Chevrolet with drivers Carson Kvapil and Connor Zilisch in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Childers, a 40-time race winner in the Cup Series, will enter into his first season as a crew chief in NASCAR's second highest level of competition. Rodney's resume and career speak for itself, said JRM team owner and NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Earnhardt Jr. Rodney and I grew up together and have known each other since we were kids. That's a relationship that has always been close and has remained close to this day. We've always had interest in working together in motorsports, and I'm thankful that this opportunity came about and we could bring him into the JRM family. Rodney Childers then said, "I'm so excited to be joining the JRM family. To see what Dale, Kelly, and Mr. H have built here is quite amazing, and their results show for themselves. Dale and Kelly have meant a lot to me for some 30 years, and I can't wait to be part of this group. Plus, I get to be the lucky guy to lead two amazing young men that have a huge amount of talent and a big future in our sport." Piloting the #1 Chevrolet for Childers in 2026 will be the dynamic duo of standout drivers Kvapil and Zilisch in a dual role. It also points out that Andrew Overstreet, who has been with JRM since 2020, will remain a key player within the organization for 2026. So obviously a huge pickup for Junior Motorsports. Rodney Childers, as I said, a very decorated crew chief, won a Cup Series championship. We already went over all of that. So he was highly desired, highly coveted. I feel like the expectation, everyone thought, which Cup team is he going to go for? Which team is going to pick him up? But it's been a little bit of a plot twist here. He's actually going to the Xfinity Series and to arguably the best Xfinity Series team in Junior Motorsports. They've really owned the Xfinity Series this year. Obviously, Connor Zilisch has, 9 wins. Justin Allgaier has a few wins. Those two have been 1-2 in the points for what feels like the majority of the season. Sammy Smith has a win. So Junior Motorsports has really just owned the Xfinity Series, all 4 cars in the playoffs. From a competitive side of things, this is adding to what they already have, and they already have quite a bit. The most shocking part of this whole announcement, though, the drivers, Connor Zilisch and Carson Kvapil. We already know that Zilisch is going to be full-time in Cup. Kvapil, though, his future has been, I hate to say in question because that sounds bad, but I feel like it was expected that he was going to still be full-time in some way, shape, or form, but it appears not. Carson Kvapil is going to be splitting a ride with Connor Zilisch. We do not know to what extent, how many races each driver is going to be competing for, but my guess is that the one car is going to be fighting for the Owners' Championship next year. Once it hits playoff time in the Xfinity Series, Connor Zilisch cannot race in the Xfinity Series as a full-time Cup driver. I believe the rule is that if you have not competed in 3 or more years in Cup, the 5 race limit does not apply to you. So for the regular season, they could theoretically go, how many races do they do in the regular season in Xfinity? 26? Do they do 26 just like Cup? Let's just say it's 26. So they could theoretically do 13 and 13. I don't know if that's going to be the split. But once they get to the playoffs, Kvapil has to race the whole thing because Zilisch will not be eligible to race because he is a full-time Cup Series driver. He could very well be in the Cup Series playoffs himself and not want to have to focus on Xfinity as a side kind of quest thing. But once again, really surprising that Kvapil's not a full-time driver at JRM next year. He hasn't done bad this year, sure. He's the only full-time driver without a win this year. I think that's something that has to be pointed out, but that doesn't mean he's done bad. Statistically, he's done better than Sammy Smith. They have the same amount of top 10s, but Kvapil has one more top 5. He's led a couple more laps, and I think Sammy Smith has a couple more stage wins, so they've been somewhat comparable, but I believe Kvapil finished inside the top 10 in the regular season standings. I think Sammy Smith was right there on the border of like 10th or 11th or something, so Carson Kvapil, you could argue, has done better than Sammy Smith if we're going to compare those two. But if I had to guess, funding, I'm sure funding has been a big part of this. So maybe that's ultimately what determined Kvapil not getting a full season of funding is the reason he doesn't get a full-time ride. If that's the case, that sucks because Carson Kvapil, as I said, he has not done that bad in the Xfinity Series. Sure, if you compare him to Connor Zilisch, his fellow rookie teammate, that's a very tough act to follow. Like, Zilisch has put together this historic rookie season. Following that up or comparing the two, like, that's a very difficult thing to do. But as I said, like, even when you go back to last year when Kvapil made his Xfinity Series debut in, 8 or 9 starts? Top 5 at Martinsville. He almost won Dover, ended up finishing runner-up to Ryan Truex in that race. Had another top 5 at Loudon, like Kvapil, who's known for being really good at the short tracks or the short track style of tracks, last year in his first 3 of his first 4 starts had top 5s. So, as I said, Kvapil's not a bad driver. This was probably the most shocking thing to me in this whole announcement was that Kvapil's not full-time. Obviously for Connor Zilisch, I mean, this is just kind of for fun, just kind of go pick up some wins, get some trophies for yourself, have a good time. You've done so good in Xfinity this year. I think Junior Motorsports, of course, they want him back, even if it's on a part-time schedule. But I would assume the goal for this team is the Owners' Championship. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, I guess Kvapil would have to find another ride to be in contention for that. But it's a big deal for Rodney Childers. Rodney Childers back in NASCAR in a crew chiefing role. He's going to be crew chiefing in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for the first time in his career. So let me know how you think this trio, duo, 2.5-0, how you think it's going to do. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you in the next video. I will be at Kansas this week for the Xfinity, still the Xfinity Series this weekend, and Cup Series, so hope to see you there.